So High on Life. You know it's from the same guy who made Rick and Morty, right? Yeah, you can pretty much guess what kind of humor you're in for. And obviously, as a big fan of dark humor, I just had to platinum this game. Get ready for talking guns that absolutely won't shut up, NPCs having existential crises, and a journey that feels like it was written by someone who chugged expired energy drinks at 3 a.m. But before we dive into the video, I gotta ask you to subscribe to the channel. Less than 3% of the people who watch my videos are subscribed. We're trying to hit 1,000 subs, and if everyone shares this video with a friend, we could totally hit that goal super fast. Anyway, let's get into the video. The game kicks off with a pretty clear Doom reference and a slightly questionable tutorial. After taking out a few enemies, our sister walks into the room, and we realize we've been playing a game within the game. Gotta admit, they totally trolled me there. And she immediately tries to lead us down the wrong path, offering us a career in powder. But hey, we're good citizens here, so obviously I said no. Then we go for a walk outside, and suddenly Earth gets invaded by aliens. That's when we snag the main weapon of the game, which spits in our face. But on the bright side, now we've got a translation system to understand all the aliens. After blasting a bunch of aliens and seeing one of them twerking, we swipe a teleporter and take it home. That lets us escape to a city in space, where we start looking for a bounty hunter to help us out. Turns out he's not doing so hot, so he offers us a hunter suit in exchange for living rent-free in our place. But then the suit starts getting infested with viruses. And apparently, they have MILFs in space? Okay, maybe this place isn't so bad after all. So, we buy a new license and finally start seeing things clearly. And since we're bounty hunters now, we gotta do a bunch of missions to take down some enemies from the G3 cartel, the same guys who invaded Earth. Our first mission is to kill 9 Torg. So, we head over to these worms who ask us which of them is the bigger ladies' man. After picking the blue one, they let us pass. And we come across this kid who's like a mix of Bart Simpson and Mike Wazowski. Since he kept making fun of us, I shot him. Our gun wasn't too happy about it, but at least we got a trophy. After killing some ants, we find this knife, which for me is one of the best weapons. That got us another trophy. Then we get to 9 Torg's lair and absolutely obliterate her. A tied up woman appears, but it looked super hard to untie her, so I just killed her to end her suffering. Then we head back home and get a missable trophy for stabbing this lazy beggar. This game actually has a bunch of missable trophies. One of them is for making a kid famous and watching him on TV, so we buy this instrument and give it to him. The next enemy we're after is Douglas. After crossing this desert, killing some enemies, and reaching the city, we ask this guy how to get past the G3 recruits. He tells us to go into this cell, and a creature literally shits on our face, which lets us pass undetected. But then we end up revealing ourselves, and I snag a trophy for lifting an enemy into the air with at least 5 shots. Then we find this octopus who asks for our help getting through the tunnels. After solving all the puzzles, we discover this damn octopus was Douglas himself. I felt so betrayed. At least we killed him and collected his DNA. We also got another weapon called Squeezy, and check out her lips, man. Even though she's not the best looking, her special power is super useful because she can stop time. Back home, we find these two arguing, and unfortunately, they pretty much fight the entire game. The next bounty we're going for is Krubis. For this, we need to explore this forest full of these plushy creatures. And while I was killing the G3 guys, I got a trophy for killing 20 of those yellow ones with big eyes. On the way to the boss, we get the chance to give orders to these furries. Obviously, I wasn't going to miss that opportunity, so I tell them to kiss and have a whole throuple. And the worst part is, the purple one is married. Then I tried to make them kill each other. They just quit and left. At least I got a trophy. Now, back to the mission. I get to Krubis and the boss fight begins. This one was a bit tougher than the others, but with a little effort, we took him down. We also got another weapon to join the gang. It's a shotgun, and for me, it's one of the best. Then, back in the city, we find this guy who offers us, well, a white alien liquid, if you know what I mean. We need to finish the game with this item in our inventory to get a trophy. Next, we get a trophy for grabbing a jetpack, which is gonna be super useful in the upcoming missions. Now, we're going after the Skrendel brothers, but first, we pick up Creature, a super useful weapon. We can launch little critters that can open doors and kill enemies for us. The fight against the 3 brothers was a bit tough, but since we have a lot of awesome weapons, we managed to kill them and get their DNA. Back at our place, this guy shows up. He's our sister's boyfriend. Yeah, she's dating an alien. And stepping out onto the streets, we finally see that kid with the butt face on TV. While we were going after the next bounty, which was Dr. Giblets, we found this dead body in front of a store. And since dead guys don't talk, we stole his boots. These boots are really cool because they let us walk on walls, which will be super useful for getting all the collectibles. To find the next boss, we had to do a bunch of investigations, looking for clues clues to find out where Dr. Giblets was, until this useless guy finally comes to a conclusion and says he knew where he was all along, which means we did all that for nothing. And during this next boss, someone in my live stream kept saying this fight was going to be the hardest of all, and I actually believed them, until we get to him, and the dude just falls over and dies. Even so, escaping that place was really difficult. Enemies just wouldn't stop spawning. Then we got the last weapon of the game, which is the most overpowered of them all, you'll see. He was kinda dead, so we took him home and asked the beggar to fix him up. We put all the other guns on the couch and just kept this blue one. Then we go to a restaurant to save our missing sister. Sitting at the table, we have a deep conversation with Kenny. He tells us he always wanted to leave his planet and explore the universe, so he teamed up with a guy who took him to space. The problem is, this guy had connections with the G3, and after they met Kenny, they asked him to guide them to his planet, which he did, leading to the complete destruction of his planet and almost everyone on it. So yeah, everything that happened is this jerk's fault. Finishing the conversation and getting up from the table, we pay the bill and get a trophy. And then we find our sister, and she was with her boyfriend the whole time. Seriously, we were so worried about her, and she was just twerking for her alien dude. Then Kenny told the other guns it was all his fault, and obviously, they got mad at him. The next bounty was Nipulon. On the way, we found these guys asking if their dad loved them, and after telling them their dad was dead, the guy got extremely happy. So happy that rainbows started coming out of him. Then, arriving at the boss, we fell into an illusion, which was super confusing. Then he kept cloning himself, and I had to find the real one to kill, until in the end, we use all the weapons at the same time and kill him. Now it's time to kill the final boss, so we pick up the baddest weapon of all, which is finally healed, Les Douit. Seriously, this weapon wipes everyone out in seconds, man. The final boss is gargantuous. It was an annoying fight because of all the stuff he kept throwing at us, but we couldn't kill him completely. So, we had to blow him up. That's why we shoved the bomb into his black hole. But the jerk still manages to come back and try to stop us, but with Les Douit, we take out all his HP. But we have a problem. To explode the bomb, we need to activate it manually. Yes, from inside. And here, Kenny offers to sacrifice himself and activate the bomb, since he was to blame for everything. But instead, I choose her, and after shoving her into this endless crater, we get a trophy. In the end, she doesn't actually die, just gets a little burned. It's pretty mild. With the game beaten, it was time to go after the remaining trophies. The first one I got was for visiting a movie theater through a teleporter, and believe it or not, an entire movie actually plays in there. The next is a trophy that depends purely on luck. I have to stand in front of the TV and keep reloading to the last checkpoint until the commercial with this robot appears. But it's super rare for him to show up. It took me about 10 minutes to find him, but I saw people who spent over an hour and couldn't find him. It's tough. And the worst part is, I have to watch this for about 8 minutes until it finishes to get the trophy. This one was much easier. I just had to go to the human heaven, which is basically the place where the humans we saved are sent. And now begins the most annoying and repetitive part of the game, the collectibles. I had to collect 227 chests scattered across the map, and the worst part of all this is that only after I collected almost all the chests, I realized I could buy a bunch of upgrades in the store that gave me way more HP and a much better jetpack. I also took the opportunity to buy the last cards I needed for a trophy. For the last chests, we had to buy some discs and use them in the teleporter, and in the end, I still had to do a skate challenge and get at least 42,000 points. While I was at it, I went for a trophy that required exploring all the disc locations in the teleporter. Initially, I was just entering the locations and leaving, but I realized I had to interact with the place to get it, and there were some really funny ones, like this one where I had to choose who would get run over by the train. Of course, I chose to kill 5 people and save only 1. There was another one where a guy was pooping, and I needed to connect all the pipes that led to a guy's mouth. Yeah, man, the guy wanted to eat the other guy's poop and kept telling me to hurry because he was starving. Putting that bizarreness aside, we only had 1 trophy left to get the platinum, and this one managed to be more annoying than collecting 227 chests. I had to finish all the missions on the forum. For that, I had to repeatedly kill some enemies. It was like 2 hours of killing the same monsters, and the worst part is that some of them were bugged. In the end, even after finishing everything, the trophy wasn't appearing, so I had to restart the game to get it. As you can see, it was a pretty boring ending, but the important thing is that we got the platinum. Anyway, I hope you liked the video. If you want more, make sure to subscribe to the channel and share it with your friends so we can hit our 1,000 subscriber goal. That's it for now.